The Cascadia Megaquake, the 100% certain disaster that will wipe out the Pacific Northwest. The Cascadia Megaquake is not a question of if, but when. This seismic titan, expected to strike the Pacific Northwest, will unleash one of the most destructive natural disasters in modern history. With 13 million lives at risk, infrastructure worth trillions in jeopardy, and tsunamis reaching across the Pacific, understanding the science behind this looming threat is critical. In this video, we break down the geology, statistics, and the potential impact of this inevitable disaster. Stay with us as we explore the fascinating, and terrifying, truth of the Cascadia Subduction Zone. Experts warn this event will release the energy of 30,000 Hiroshima bombs, putting 13 million lives at risk and reducing trillions of dollars in infrastructure to rubble. Ports critical for food and supplies would be rendered inoperable, leaving the region isolated and helpless. This isn't just science, it's personal. This disaster keeps me up at night. I've had nightmares about watching the ground split open, waves swallowing entire towns, and being powerless to protect the people I love. How about you? Have you ever imagined what you'd do when the big one hits? What would happen to your family, your pets, your community? It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. Stay with us as we uncover the terrifying truth behind this impending catastrophe and what you need to do to survive. Imagine the ground shaking for 10 minutes straight, entire cities sinking into the ocean, and walls of water taller than skyscrapers swallowing everything in their path. The Copalis River Ghost Forest serves as chilling evidence of the Cascadia Subduction Zone's destructive potential. During a massive earthquake centuries ago, the land sank abruptly by 5 to 6 feet, allowing seawater to flood inland and drown a forest in place. The earthquake also unleashed a massive tsunami, spreading destruction far beyond the immediate area. Today, the preserved, lifeless trees stand as stark reminders of a disaster so powerful it reshaped the region, and one that is certain to happen again. In 1700, a massive earthquake struck the Cascadia Subduction Zone with such force that it caused the land to sink and sent a tsunami racing across the Pacific Ocean. While no written records exist from the Pacific Northwest at that time, scientists have pinpointed the exact timing of this event, January 26, 1700, at 9 p.m., through a remarkable combination of geology, tree ring analysis, and Japanese tsunami records. This scientific feat showcases the brilliance of modern research in unraveling ancient mysteries. But it also begs the question, if we can reconstruct the past with such precision, what's stopping us from predicting and preparing for the next one? A Cascadia Megaquake wouldn't just unleash one massive tsunami, it would trigger a series of waves that could continue striking the coastline for hours. The first wave, often the largest, would arrive within 15 to 30 minutes after the quake, leaving little time for people to reach high ground. But the danger doesn't end there. Secondary and tertiary waves, sometimes just as destructive, would follow, catching survivors off guard as they attempt to return to lower areas. This relentless pattern of wave after wave creates a unique challenge for evacuation efforts. Sustaining safety over several hours requires immense coordination, resources, and public awareness. Many people, unaware of the continued threat, might assume the danger has passed after the initial wave, only to find themselves in the path of the next surge. Emergency planners emphasize the need for clear communication and long-term evacuation strategies to address this prolonged hazard. The question remains, will we be ready to face such a sustained onslaught? All probabilities in this analysis are derived using the cluster model, ATAS, which assumes seismic activity occurs in clusters, increasing the likelihood of future earthquakes. Magnitude 6.5 to 6.9, the start of chaos. Probability, 10 years, 33.18%. Probability, 50 years, 100%. Probability, 100 years, 100%. A magnitude 6.5 to 6.9 earthquake might sound modest compared to the apocalyptic numbers often discussed, but don't be fooled. At this level, the ground would roar like thunder, shaking buildings to their cores. Unprepared structures in coastal towns like Seaside and Newport could collapse like houses of cards. The real horror? Liquefaction. Waterlogged soils in cities like Portland and Seattle would turn into quicksand, swallowing streets, homes, and entire neighborhoods. Roads would crack open, swallowing cars, while gas lines ignite explosions that ripple across the city. But the nightmare doesn't stop there. Landslides triggered by the quake could bury highways, cutting off rescue efforts. Even without a massive tsunami, a quake of this magnitude would leave thousands displaced and scrambling for survival. Magnitude 7.0 to 7.9, the region-wide destruction. Probability, 10 years, 17.63%. Probability, 50 years, 69.71%. Probability, 100 years, 100%. Now imagine the shaking doesn't last for seconds but for minutes. A magnitude 7.0 to 7.9 earthquake would send shockwaves across the Pacific Northwest, causing regional-scale devastation. Skyscrapers sway violently, with many toppling in the chaos. Bridges along I-5 would buckle, severing the lifeline that connects the region's cities. Infrastructural collapse would be catastrophic. Hospitals overwhelmed by the injured would lose power, leaving patients at the mercy of darkness. Airports would shut down indefinitely as runways crack and control towers crumble. Coastal communities would face not just ground shaking but tsunamis with waves as high as 30 feet, inundating homes and washing away towns. The death toll could reach tens of thousands, while economic losses could cripple the region for decades. Survivors would be left with no electricity, no clean water, and limited hope as chaos ensues. Magnitude 8.0 to 8.9, the nightmare unleashed. Probability, 10 years, 11.99%. Probability, 50 years, 51.11%. Probability, 100 years, 84.81%. Welcome to the realm of megathrust earthquakes. A magnitude 8.0 to 8.9 quake would rip through the Cascadia Subduction Zone, triggering apocalyptic destruction. Ground shaking would be so intense it would feel like the earth itself is tearing apart beneath you. Entire city blocks would collapse as unreinforced buildings crumble like sandcastles. The tsunami would be the real killer. Waves as high as 50 feet would surge inland, obliterating everything in their path. Coastal evacuation routes would be clogged with traffic, leaving thousands stranded and unable to escape the wall of water. Emergency services would be overwhelmed, with rescue efforts delayed for weeks as the region drowns in destruction. Firestorms ignited by ruptured gas lines would engulf cities, adding yet another layer of horror to an already unimaginable catastrophe. Survivors would be left in a post-apocalyptic wasteland, with no communication, no aid, and no escape. Magnitude 9.0 plus. The Cascadia Armageddon. Probability, 10 years, 5.98%. Probability, 50 years, 14%. Probability, 100 years, 33.40%. Probability, 500 years, 100%. The big one. A magnitude 9.0 plus earthquake would be the ultimate geological disaster, a once-in-500 years event that would change the Pacific Northwest forever. The ground would shake for 10 minutes, reducing cities to rubble. Coastal regions would sink by 6 feet, permanently altering the landscape and submerging entire towns. The tsunami generated by this quake would reach heights of 100 feet, crashing into the coast with the force of 1,000 freight trains. Entire towns like Seaside, Newport, and Ocean Shores would be erased from the map. Survivors who make it to higher ground would watch in horror as the ocean consumes their homes, businesses, and everything they've ever known. The aftermath would be apocalyptic. 13,000 dead and 27,000 injured in the first week alone. Millions displaced, with no shelter, no food, and no clean water. Economic losses exceeding $100 billion, plunging the region into a decades-long recovery. The Pacific Northwest would be unrecognizable, a wasteland of destruction where survival would depend on sheer luck and preparation. Despite the overwhelming danger posed by a Cascadia Megaquake, there is hope. The Shoalwater Bay Tribe in Washington has taken proactive measures by constructing a vertical evacuation tower, designed to protect hundreds of people from incoming tsunamis. Anchored deep into the ground and equipped with supplies like water, propane, and heaters, this tower serves as a beacon of survival and resilience. The tribe is also relocating their entire village to higher ground, ensuring the safety of future generations. This level of foresight and engineering is a testament to what communities can achieve with determination and planning. From tsunami hazard maps to evacuation drills, modern science and traditional knowledge are working hand in hand to protect lives. But these efforts shouldn't stop here. If we want to minimize the devastation of the next big quake, every coastal region must demand similar investments in preparedness. Together, we can build a safer future, one where communities not only survive but thrive in the face of disaster. The Cascadia Megaquake is inevitable, but its impact can be mitigated through preparedness. Science has given us the tools to understand this looming disaster. Now, it's up to us to act. Are you ready for the big one? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more videos exploring the science behind Earth's greatest mysteries. For those in the Pacific Northwest, visit resources like ready.gov or shakeout.org to access earthquake safety plans, evacuation routes, and preparation tips. Start protecting your family now. Ensure your children know emergency procedures, secure safe spaces for pets, and stockpile essential supplies like food, water, and medicine. Preparedness isn't just important, it's a matter of survival. Preparedness could be the difference between survival and catastrophe. The Cascadia Megaquake is inevitable, but its impact can be mitigated through preparedness. Science has given us the tools to understand this looming disaster. Now, it's up to us to act. Are you ready for the big one? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more videos exploring the science behind Earth's greatest mysteries.